What's up, guys? It's Goose from the Wise Wealth Discord, coming back at you with another watch list. Oh boy, do we have a lot to uncover. There is a lot of events going on. As you know, in the Discord we posted over the weekend. Two big things happened over the weekend, Jimmy said, affecting futures. One, Trump posing a massive tariffs on Colombia. They fired back and imposed tariffs back. It's not that big of a deal since they import way more, but could set a precedent for what's to come in the future with other trade partners. So one, the tariffs, we kind of seen that coming with Trump and imposing tariffs, and then usually countries don't, like that, so they're gonna, come back and put their own tariffs on us. Not a big deal. It's just Colombia, China, Canada, Mexico. Those ones are going to be the big question mark. Second, tech is up in arms about China's DeepSeek AI, saying they only spent 6 million or on par with OpenAI. He said, personally, I think this is all BS, but lots of speculation and talk about it. If it's real, why are we spending billions? Why they spent nearly 6 million? So there are some question marks there. I do think there are things that can kind of help ease your mind when you see these 3%. IWM is holding up pretty well, which to me, I think that's a sign of constructive, dip buying. But I don't want to be overly bullish. When you do see something like that happen, it is a little bit fearful. These are some of the things that I think truly will move the market. FOMC, that's going to be the big determinator. If they come in dovish and they say that they are confident, that inflation's coming down, this and that, the market's going to love that. If we get a great PCE read, that's a inflation read, and it comes down, the market is going to absolutely love that. And also another thing, we're coming into, like you said, we were saying in the Discord, DeepSeek AI. If the valuations are too high, then it would be justified through earnings where they wouldn't be selling as much, and then people are going to be like, why are chips so overpriced if they're really not worth that much and AI isn't capable of much. But the thing is we're coming into earnings season. We have a lot of earnings coming up, and I believe Jimmy posted in here, yeah. After close on Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of the FOMC. We have Tesla, Meta, Microsoft. Those are huge. Then Apple on Thursday. That'll be big. Intel, Visa. Visa is a huge company. These are the things that I think are truly going to move the market. And then obviously, what do we always play is price action. And when you see these things start to dip, you're looking for where demand would be. And 9 times out of 10, it's out of where previous resistance was. Supply, 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 supply. But now that it broke through and made that higher high, where's it going to find demand? Where that supply was. So it's like it's finding demand here as of right now. Obviously, yes, it's down 2%. It could continue to keep going. QQQ, the same thing. But I preach the same things every time we have these mornings where we're down, 3, 4, 5%. Everyone's fearful if something happened. 9 times out of 10, it's the best time to buy the dip. And my bullish scenario is if we, have this big drop and we come back and retest this, like people are still buying Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Bitcoin's still flagging up. IWM is only down 0.71%. And you read the headlines and you're like, are these really crash signals? Is this like, okay, everybody get out? I'm so scared, Not really. I don't think tariffs on Colombia, and I don't think DeepSeek AI and what I do think maybe it could readjust the, potential earnings for AI. If you know what I mean? Like people have expectations, so that's why valuations are so high, and like Nvidia, AMD, AVGO, all these semiconductor names, because they think that, AI is the future and it's worth this much. And if you hear that it can be made cheaper, then you're going to think competition's there and they're doing it better. So, why buy Nvidia products if you could do that? I just, like Jimmy said, I think it's a lot of BS on the front of China, where they've been caught lying before, just to kind of mess with the U.S. markets or whatever it is. And I don't think these are crash signals. I really don't. Like, I understand, yes, it's scary when things do drop 11% in a video, one of the biggest companies in the world. But you have to look at the long term view as well, as most of us are trying to accumulate wealth. And when you get these dips, look at what happens. Dip buyers are just sitting there. Meta comes all the way down to 600, instantly bought up. It goes up another $34. So it's like this is to me a runaway market. This market is just goes. And when you get these dips, these 10% moves, it's like you're you're super, you know, greedy up here. Is like when Meta's breaking out, you're more than willing to be buying it, but then if it does get that dip, then you're scared. You know what I mean? QQQ, a lot of people were starting to get greedy up here because it just broke out. That's where I was letting you guys know in Discord, that's where the pre FOMC breakdown was. And when that happened, I knew there was a fair value gap there. That's where supply or demand was now turning into supply. And yeah, the news headline sent us down, but where are you going to find buyers? 9 times out of 10, you're going to find buyers, at these big levels. The July highs are still being held. If that's broken down intraday, shoot the messenger. Like I said the last few times when to buy the dip. I just think like if you're looking 30 years down the line and you get these 5% moves, 3% moves, these are the best times to be buying. Because even if it comes all the way down to the 200-day moving average, I still would want to be buying. If it comes all the way down here to the 400. So what I'm basically trying to say is when these fearful things come out and these headlines come out, is 99% of the time you want to be buying because we're accumulating for the long term wealth effect. And yes, if you are older watching my videos, of course you're a little bit more cautious about how quick it could drop, but that's where it's like you want to just find value in what companies you're buying. But personally, I'm still bullish. I think that earnings and FOMC are going to tame all of this fear. And if, the Fed seems confident in what they're doing, and then you come out and Apple and Meta and Tesla, all of these companies have great earnings, what's there to be worried about? If they're growing, they're a growing company, and what does the headline of Columbia mean if you're still continuing to beat earnings and beat valuations? Bitcoin is another big thing, is like, look where it comes, the breakout level. And where do you find buyers? Exactly there. Huge, huge amount of buyers here. And yes, I don't want to be overly optimistic. I'm aware of some of the things that could happen. I've put it in Discord. I've shorted the market on the way up as well. So I'm not afraid to play price on both ends. But when the risk to reward starts to get to these points, I kind of want it's kind of tempting. You know what I mean? How long has Apple been sold off? And it gets into these oversold areas. Now you're touching the 200-day, and people want to buy it up here, and they're all greedy. Let's more Apple, but they're afraid to buy it down here on a 15% discount. When you get those discounts, that's a blessing, in my opinion, when it comes to Apple or Amazon or Microsoft, all these names, Nvidia. 11% this morning, going right down to the 200-day. It's flagging up. I know I haven't went through a lot of technicals yet, but I just wanted to go over, my thought process is that I'm not really afraid in these moments. I truly am not. It's happened a few times where I'm making these videos and everyone's selling this and that. IWM 0.72, probably going to flag up here. I could see through the FOMC if these yields start to continue to back off like they were this morning. We could definitely start to see the 235 area. Ultimately, if you back it up, we are in kind of like a cup and handle. I've been kind of realizing that. This is the cup, huge cup and handle, and now it's kind of forming that handle. So we could go up there, but that could be another denial point, like the 235. But if we do start to break this, we're at all-time highs easily. I believe we see 250, 260 throughout the year. But that's just my bullish take. I don't I understand, there's a lot of gaps here too, a lot of illiquidity. I'm not telling you buy calls. Options are a different thing. I'm talking more about common shares and accumulating wealth. You want to be buying these 3% dips. You want to be buying these 10% dips on Nvidia, in my opinion. If the valuations do come down and the hype, starts to explode and all this other news comes out, Of course, it could continue to keep dropping, and you may have to, start to reevaluate. But that's why you diversify. That's why you buy QQQ, because just because chips are going down doesn't mean Meta will go down with, communication services or whatever they call themselves. Google, that's still a pretty strong company. It comes right back into this flag area. And we've had some great plays. I know usually I overview. I didn't do a video last week, but we had some great plays last week where it broke out, had its breakout level, but now we're kind of just coming back. We're resetting these RSIs. And like I said, we're still just in breakout levels. It comes back and it's retesting these levels. That to me is bullish. I don't really get bearish until it's starting to break below, some of the, I would say there's a big gap right here. So yeah, you could short term be bearish for sure, but people like to get bearish at the bottoms and then bullish at the tops. Like obviously we just moved up 8%, the quickest. Jimmy was saying it was the quickest like top to bottom in a 2 month period or something. 6% in like not even more than 8 trading sessions, 7 trading sessions. So yes, we're overbought in these levels, but that's where people, look to go long, and that's where the mentality is just so off. Is like you want to pile in on a 6% rally, but when it drops 2 to 3%, you're scared to buy and you want to short it. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what people try and like market. And it's like just watch your price levels. QQQ comes below the 505 level, of course, yes, it could start to test the 500. But as of right now, it hasn't lost July highs and it keeps tapping it. We could just be in a big old range right here, and this continues to move up through FOMC and earnings. IWM, I think they're flagging up nicely. There's a gap above that they're trying to fill. I personally bought some TQ or TQQQ, where it's like a leverage. You could buy some shares on QQQ, and then I bought some Bitcoin. I saw it below 100,000 last night, so I was starting to buy, and I'm up like a few percent, but I only have like 5, 6, 700 bucks in it. I'm just playing the technicals, seeing if this is going to hold as a demand zone. And that's really it, guys. I mean, I could go over the technicals for days, but really it is a macro event this week. You have those news headlines to start us off, but it's going to come down to earnings. It's going to come down to FOMC, what they decide. That's mostly Wednesday. So my game plan, I was hoping for this pullback, to be honest. I was looking for a pullback Monday and Tuesdays that I could buy going into the end of the week. So if this maintains, and I may accumulate, some calls, but also be wary that in bear markets, they do go up very, very fast, but they go down just as fast. That's kind of my biggest worry, is that like, is this the start of something like that? I don't know. But look at price action. It's telling you everything you need to know. Even on Amazon right here. Where was that big break that we had? Right here. Where is it finding buyers? It's holding this. So what is, like, to me, that's not bearish. I know I'm going on a tangent, like how many times this guy got to tell me, things look bullish. But I pay attention to the market, pay attention to what people do, and emotions always get the best of people. Is when they have these 3% gap downs, people want to just dump everything and get rid of it. But look realistically at the charts. I mean, is this not a beautiful bull flag on Netflix? And we're in the midst of, quote unquote, a crash right now. Come on, like it just looks very bullish in my opinion. And if you're gonna buy calls at all time highs, last week, but then not buy calls down here, it's like you got it flip flop. You know what I mean? You got to be cautious up here when you go up 6%. But when you have that rubber band effect and you start to get these RSIs, that's where you might want to get a little greedy. You got to start thinking like that. You got to be fearful when people are greedy, and greedy when people are fearful. So when everyone's selling and getting scared, that's some of the best bang for your buck when you're buying these great companies. But that's all I really got. It's a macro event. You can see that the technicals are holding, SPY's holding, QQQ's holding. These are levels that you don't want to see breaking below the 505 level. You got SPY probably below 590. That could start to get ugly. IWM, if it gets back in this chop range with this big old flag, that's going to be a big level of resistance. But hold 225 and you're good. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in, but I think this is a buy the dip moment as per usual. But that also plays a huge factor in earnings and FOMC. But good luck. We're gonna make sure to keep posting in the Discord our levels and stuff like that. But let's have a fantastic week, guys. Remember not to over leverage. Remember not to over trade. When these big volatile moments, you can blow an account very, very easily. You never want to risk all the capital that you have. Let's get it, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much.